man. Detroit versus everybody, man. Detroit, we rep the hardest, man. We gain the hardest. You know what it is, man. Detroit, CJ, holla at your boy when we get home.
Don't forget to check out our sponsor, The Health Blaze, at thehealthblaze.com. 100% all natural products from lotions, soaps, foot soaks, bath bombs, and much, much more. Use the promo code Goodfella1Boxing. Tell them your boy CJ Goodfella sent you. Get 18% off. We out.
All right, Floyd Mayweather goes on a rant about Vasyl Lomachenko, says this is why you can't compare him to, him, Ali, and, other great fighters. But let's talk about it. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. I appreciate everybody for checking in. Don't forget, check out our Boxing News playlist, and I put the actual interview in the description under source link so you can see exactly what he said word from word. But shout out to Fight Hype for getting that coverage I think that was at the TMT Mayweather gym. But he said basically that, Lomachenko had a loss to Orlando Salido. Salido was a solid guy, and you got to know this. Orlando Salido actually beat one of the opponents he beat later in his career, Robert Guerrero, many, many years before Floyd did it. So Salido was the best fighter that Lomachenko fought, and I still believe Salido is still the best fighter that Lomachenko fought at the time. He got more experience than Teofimo Lopez, and I think he may be a more skilled fighter at this point. And Teo was 23 years old, and Salido might be 40 years old by the time he fought him. But let's face the facts. He got wins over Lopez, Robert Guerrero. He's fought Yurkis Gamboa in his prime. He's fought Mikey in his prime. Salido was a really, really good win. And he was a better fighter, well-rounded fighter than Gary Russell when Lomachenko fought him, then Roman Rocky Martinez. You can go on and on. But my whole thing is he putting emphasis, he already had a loss. He already had a loss. He already had a loss. Floyd, this is the problem with boxing. People scared to take ass whooping. Just because Lomachenko lost don't mean he ain't still a good fighter. People saying, well, should he retire? Should he retire? He didn't take no butt whooping like Deontay Wilder took. It's okay to lose. Lomachenko could still beat probably almost every other lightweight damn near. But Floyd just couldn't wait to unload. He said, I don't want to take nothing away from Teofimo Lopez, but, he's a good fighter, but he goes on and say, well, maybe Lomachenko was scared of the power. I mean, that's the same question I was asking. Why he started so slow? Straight up and down, he won, Teofimo won the fight, 8-4, 9-3. I mean, maybe you can make a case 7-5. Abel Sanchez said he had a 7-5. I seen him on Fight Hub TV. But case remains, Teofimo Lopez did enough to win the fight. But to sit here and just, everybody just unloaded on this guy, and it's cool. But it wasn't like he went in there and got exposed as a hype job. He went in there and lost the fight that he just, I don't know why he didn't start, faster. Every time he moved his hands, he landed on Teofimo Lopez. So it wasn't like he went out there and got stumped like Wilder. Or it wasn't even like he went out there and just got beat like Thurman got beat by Pacquiao. He's still a good fighter, but he went on to say that all this shit over here. He went on to say that Pacquiao, he went on to say this dude messing with me over here. He grinding whatever. He working on his house. But he went on to say Lomachenko had over 300, he said he had over 400, almost 400 amateur fights, 390 something. And he also had like 7 or 8 fights in the World Series of Boxing. He said once you have over 300 amateur fights, you're already a professional fighter. And that, me and Ali won our first, second, and third fight. He lost his second fight, even though he the fastest one to a world title. And that's cool. But I don't just think another boxing legend should unload on somebody else. And that's how they did Wilder. Antonio Tarver and everybody unloaded on him. Larry Holmes, who should know what it feel like to be hated just because of, his skin color or what he did to Ali. I just think, Floyd got to be above that. Everything he do, this is how I did it, and y'all comparing him to him. I feel that everybody wanted to unload on Lomachenko. Cool. I didn't have an issue with unloading on Lomachenko. But Floyd is just so insecure. For a dude to be TBE and not have a loss, he always put an emphasis on, this guy lost, and, he lost to him, and he can't be great. People lose. You have an off night on boxing some nights, and that's just the way it is. It happens, and he's sitting here, just rating to unload on this guy. We already knew you couldn't compare him to Lomachenko. We knew we couldn't compare him to Lomachenko to Ali. We already knew that. But it just seemed like he just wanted to sit here and rip the guy. He gave him some credit. He said he got a gold medal, 2 gold medals. I could never do that, this, that, and the third. And he right. When you got 300 fights and that many fights, you damn near a professional fighter, even though you still fighting, 3 or 4 round fights. And that's just what it is at that point. But my whole thing is Floyd just got to stop sitting here and putting the emphasis on the, okay, you lost, so what? Muhammad Ali lost, George Foreman lost, Joe Frazier lost. Marvin Hagler lost multiple times. Tommy Hearns lost multiple times. You got to stop putting emphasis on the loss. Well, he lost to this guy, and I never lost in a fight. Who cares? You talking about everything that's wrong with boxing. You actually paved the way for this next generation. Crying about losses and crying about if you won or you lost this fight. Nobody cares. You lose, you can come back and win again. That's the mentality in UFC, and that's the mentality boxing had 20, 30 years ago. You know, when you 30 years ago, when you go to the 90s, 40 probably years ago when you go to the 80s. That's the mentality that boxing once had. It was once a proud sport. It didn't matter. My whole thing is, you know, if you didn't think he was ever you, Ali, or some of the other great fighters, you know, throughout history, if you didn't think, you know, he was that good, then why didn't you put Tank in there with him? That's my whole thing. He was crying about the world titles the other day. Oh, this guy don't, you know, there were too many world titles, but Tank is fighting for a fake title. He just won a fake title versus Gamboa. Badu Jack fought for a fake title when he fought John Pascal. So many TMT fighters just fought for those second and third, you know, title fights, you know, titles. He got to be shitting me, dude. Who does this at 7 o'clock? I'm sorry for this, dog. I just don't feel like shooting this video over, man. But, you know, when you get to that point, you know, fighting for regular titles, he's just a hypocrite. If he wasn't that good, why didn't Tank take his own? I mean, give him another loss. Why didn't Tank go up there and get all the belts and fight the winner or fight Teofimo Lopez? That's my problem with Floyd. Floyd sit here and he cry and he bitching about what's wrong with boxing, but you paved the way as Money Mayweather for a lot of things that's wrong with boxing. Straight up and down, you the issue in boxing. All your fighters fighting for fake belts. You gonna sit here, oh, this he was never me. We already knew that. If he wasn't that good, why didn't Tank never fight him? Why didn't you come out of retirement and fight him, for God's sakes? And I say that jokingly, but you know, for him to sit here and rip him for 5, 6 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever the interview was, you know, to me it was just about him being vindicated. He didn't bet knowing that Teofimo Lopez would beat. He bet hoping that he would beat him. He was sitting here like everybody else, and I admit it, I was hoping that Teofimo Lopez beat Lomachenko. You get tired when somebody try to, just dick ride somebody in the media so long. I get it. I'm tired of seeing that too, but at the same time, it's okay if he lost to Teofimo Lopez. It's okay if he lost to Salido. You know what I'm saying? He fought for a title in his second or third fight, whatever it was. He already had 400 fights. Plus a few fights in the World Series of Boxing, or almost 400 fights. It's okay. But if you felt that way, he wasn't that good, he wasn't you, then why didn't Gervonta Tank Davis fight him? Tell me that. Why didn't Tank step in the ring with him if he was so overrated? Why was Floyd and, you know, Floyd running away from him? But then when Tank didn't do what he say do, you say you was gonna throw him in there with Lomachenko and call Todd DeBuff, knowing that, you know, Tank didn't want to fight that. I mean, just the hypocrisy of Floyd yesterday. If you want to change boxing so much, Floyd, make your own belt. If you want to change boxing so much, Floyd, tell PBC fighters and TMT fighter, Mayweather promotion fighter, whatever you want to call them, to stop fighting for secondary and third, you know, option, third party belts or third option belts. That's all we saying. Straight up and down. You know, you want to sit here and rip Lomachenko. It's cool. Everybody feel vindicated, and it ain't like Lomachenko went out here and said that he was, you know, the greatest fighter of all time. At one point, he said Bud was the best fighter pound for pound. People forget that. He didn't go out here and ask Top Rank to push him like that. You know, y'all got to be mad at Bob and Todd DeBuff and Carl Moretti and them. Y'all could be mad at those guys. But Lomachenko ain't go out here and say, I'm the best of all time. He just wanted to go out there and be undisputed. But, you know, at least he was willing to go out there in 15 fights and fight the best opponents possible. Shit, Tank, how many fights in? Tank gonna be 50 fights in and still not fight a credible opponent. The only credible opponent he fought to this point was Jose Pedraza. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, everybody can have their opinion on it, but it just seemed like, you know, Floyd, if he didn't think Loma was that good, he would have threw Tank in there with him. That's my whole synopsis on it. And, you know, like I said about Floyd, y'all can say a lot of things about him. He's a terrific fighter, but he's self-centered around him. Every interview, well, you know, you can't say he was better than me. You know, I did this and I did that. And I mean, people get tired of that. We know what you did. We weren't born in 2012. We didn't start watching the boxing in 2000. We very well aware of how accomplished Floyd Mayweather is. We're very well aware you got a bronze medal and you got fucked out. We much aware of that. But to sit here and discredit this dude when you had a couple fighters around that weight class and around this weight class that y'all want to fight, you PBC too. You seen what he did to Gary Russell, the very same guy that Tank scared to fight. Lomachenko beat him long ago. Y'all never wanted to fight Gary Russell. You know what I'm saying? So you didn't want to fight, you know, Lomachenko. You didn't want to fight the guy he beat in Gary Russell. Like, we ain't trying to hear you trying to talk about this boxing reform, and the way you move your fighters is like they wearing skirts. Like they was still, you know, learning to be potty trained. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. If you thought so less of Lomachenko, why didn't you throw Gervonta Tank Davis in there with him? Why didn't you throw Rolly in there with him? You know what I'm saying? If you thought so less of him, then why is Tank running from a featherweight in Gary Russell? You know, why is he fighting Leo Santa Cruz? That's sad. Just like Teofimo Lopez said, it's sad. Nobody care about him in Santa Cruz. Only thing people want to see is the end of Santa Cruz, because he ducked Gary Russell and Rigondeaux all them years. So when you look at Floyd, bro, you know, change the game. Have all your fighters drop their fake belts. Rolly, Tank, all those guys. You know, and then if you talking about, you know, fighting the best and, you know, daring to be great, Floyd make it seem like, you know, it's bad to take a risk in boxing. It's bad to take a loss in boxing. That's Floyd. Oh, don't do this. Don't take this loss. Don't do this. Don't do that. You know, as soon as somebody take a risk, here go Floyd. Oh, I told you he wasn't that good. This is why we move Tank the way we move Tank. You know, when Tank lose, it's no offense on Tank. I ain't got nothing against Tank in this department. When Tank lose, I'm gonna let London's bridges fall on Floyd Mayweather and Leonard Allaby and Mayweather Promotions. If he lose to Leo Santa Cruz, we gonna smoke a big cigar that night. And I'm not hoping that he will lose. I hope he knocks Santa Cruz ass out for being a pussy. But at the same time, Floyd, man, Floyd is everything what's wrong with boxing. He trying to hide his true colors. We see how you run Mayweather Promotions. If you feel that way, have your fighters drop all them weak old fake belts they got. If you feel that way, put Gervonta Tank in there with Teofimo Lopez next. And that's just how I feel about it. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget, we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out if you have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video request. All my social media links in the description. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram are the fastest ways. Other than that, you can check out the Facebook group. That link's there as well, too. Want to make a donation, just share the video. If you haven't, hit that subscribe button, the like, comment button. I can't put emphasis enough. Best way to donate is share the video. It's the best way to help me out. Other than that, you want to make a financial donation, Cash App CJ Good 313, PayPal link in the description. Appreciate the love, support. We gone.